Alright, I'm back. I had misplaced one of my pages for a second. This is from a website called padfield.com, and it's called the church at Laodicea in Asia Minor. Let's go down. Let's go to right here. This is the hot springs at Hierapolis, just 6 miles across the Lycus River Valley, and to the south are probably what John had in mind when he spoke of the lukewarm water in Revelation 3 verse 15 to 17. No other city on the Lycus Valley was as dependent on external water supplies as Laodicea. Water was also piped in through an aqueduct from Colossae. The lukewarmness for which, thanks to this letter, the name of Laodicea has become proverbial. Many reflect the condition of the city's water supply. The water supplied by the spring was tepid and nauseous by the time it was piped to Laodicea. Unlike the therapeutic hot water of Hierapolis or the refreshing cold water of Colossae, hence the Lord's words, would that you were cold or hot. Water piped into Laodicea by aqueduct from the south was so concentrated with minerals that the Roman engineers designed vents capped with removable stones so the aqueduct pipes could periodically be cleared of deposits. And it gives you its source. Our Lord did not accuse the brethren Laodicea of apostasy, nor of following some false prophet or engaging in emperor worship. The church is accused of being lukewarm. This is the only congregation about which the Lord had nothing good to say. And that's a point that I need to get there. Eventually this show is probably going to be like 25, 30 minutes like the last show. But then I basically realized that that wasn't necessary. So I basically just shortened it up. I'm going to end it off with this last page. Laodicea Water Aqueduct. It says, know your deeds. A water aqueduct like that of Laodicea was a large stone engineering structure built to transport water sometimes over large distances. The ancient Romans loved to bathe, and so good water was seen as an essential element in their social well-being. In many of the squares in Rome today, you can see fountains where the bathhouses for bathing and for brothel used to be. Often a viaduct from the Latin via road and ducere to lead spanned the valley, and this was constructed in the form of a bridge, a viaduct, supported by tall brick columns and arches. In Roman times, aqueducts traveled over long distances to provide a water supply to outlying communities. See, it traveled from long distances. So if Laodicea, see it says here no other city, was dependent on external water supplies to Laodicea. Water was also piped in through an aqueduct via Colossae, and it mentions the hot springs at Hierapolis. So if this water is traveling, let's say, 6 miles from one city to Laodicea, then you can only imagine how the water would lose its temperature. If it was cold traveling from a far distance, it would become lukewarm. If it was hot traveling from a far distance, it would become lukewarm. That's why it says in Roman times, aqueducts traveled over long distances to provide a water supply to outlying communities. Some aqueducts still remain today, such was the excellence of Roman engineering 2,000 and more years ago. At one time, a 6-mile aqueduct brought water from the hot mineral springs in Basnapar and Corcutelli in present-day Turkey to the city of Laodicea, on the Lycus River in the Roman province of Asia. Laodicea was reportedly named after an Ottoman prince murdered by his brother, which was actually named after Antiochus II Theos' wife, Laodice, and there was more than one city called Laodicea. This place called Laodicea is known as Laodicea ad Lycum, meaning Laodicea on the Lycus River Valley. Okay? Or Laodicea at the River Valley. Or Laodicea at the Lycus River Valley. Or Laodicea at the Lycus. Excuse me. By the time the water reached the city of Laodicea, via the aqueduct, it was neither hot enough for a healing bath nor refreshingly cold to drink, and was therefore considered useless by the Romans. Okay? It mentions the scripture here. It says, John the survivor. John of Patmos, whose name meant the Most High has been gracious, which John means the gift, repeated for us Yahushua's words in Revelation. I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. John of Patmos was widely accepted by early church writers as the writer of the book of Revelation. He was banished to the island of Patmos after being plunged into a vat of boiling oil and miraculously surviving. But that's what they're saying. To this, well, we do know John was on the island of Patmos. We know that much. That's in the scriptures, in Revelation. To this day, icons bearing his image show a scar from scalding down the side of his head. He reputedly was exiled on the Greek island of Patmos and was the only one of Yahushua's apostles to have lived a full life and died a natural death. He was so highly respected in his day that he was sought after for advice by the leaders, princes, and officials who visited him. The point of Yahushua's statement to the church at Laodicea was that their spirituality had faded and was as lukewarm as the tepid water that flowed into the city. So your spirituality had faded. Your spirituality is lukewarm. The same way your aqueducts brought water from Hierapolis and from Colossus, the cold springs of Colossus or Colossae, and the cold water that was brought to your city from Colossus or from Colossae, and the hot water that was brought from the hot springs of Hierapolis, when it eventually reached Laodicea, and they will become lukewarm or no longer be hot, no longer be cold, but rather lukewarm, then guess what? That is nothing more than a representation of the faith of the Laodicean Jews. Your faith is lukewarm. Therefore, it says, the point of Yahushua's statement to the church at Laodicea was that their spirituality had faded and was as lukewarm as the tepid water that flowed into the city. Therefore, Yahushua harshly warned the Laodiceans as he does us today in Revelation 2:16. I'm about to spit you out of my mouth, which that's not the King James Version. So with that, I hope you learned something. This video is going to be uploaded in 3 separate parts because I had to stop one time because I was recording it, then I had stopped one time because I had too much space. Then I started to record a second time, and then I misplaced one of my pages, so I had to stop it. And this is the third time. This is the third installment of what I did. So with that, I'm going to close. I hope you learned something. I'm going to say, oh, praise the Yahweh Shem Yahshua, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, Shalom.